Yeah, okay, so camera ran out of battery, so I'm quite happy with how that has set across the model. So I'm just going to skip ahead to the layer color, which will be Evil Sun's Scarlet. It's hard to tell. A few different ways I've seen to do this recently, where it's like a denser version of highlighting, which I quite like. Roughly what it looks like. Kind of sort of run over the whole thing very roughly, paying special attention to the raised edges as if you're dry brushing almost. I'm leaving out recessed or shadow areas for the most part, so that the layer color doesn't brighten them as much as it would. I mean, I'm not being overly zealous with that, but mostly just using the lighter layer color on upper surfaces. And not putting too much pressure on getting full coverage of the head. So I mean, it's mostly covered. It's not, I mean, not very accurate, but we'll do another coat when it's dry. While that one dries, just want to real quick show you kind of a little bit better on this one. So you can see the base coat there. If I just run over the raised portions of the power pack and leave the would-be shadowed areas, it's going to give a nicer effect with that layer. I mean, it's not a perfect way to do it, but it does give this nice after effect. Just those areas, again, like as if you're highlighting those areas that will catch the light. And try and leave the rest. Okay, so with that out of the way, time to do the shade. So it's going to be the same as the rest of the series, Egg Wax Earth shade. We're quickly going to do, I'm not going to worry about getting any on the rest of the model here. I'm just going to quickly prioritize those darker areas that we didn't put any lighter layer on. We generally just try and wash these components with the shade color. I like to, with pauldrons, try and get into those little creases, but not too much. It's kind of a hard compromise to make. It looks worse on camera than it is, but you'll see when it dries that like it's quite a good effect if you can let some collect very lightly in the gaps. Just going to continue washing on around. And when it comes to the face, what I like to do is try and press the brush up against. And try and, you can see there, let the shade slide into as many recesses and gaps as possible. But hopefully when that dries, quite a good effect. Okay, so you can see that's started to dry. You can see, like I always say, that shade paints do a lot of the work for you. Still not anywhere near close to being done, but I'm going to leave it overnight, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get to finish off that model and we'll show you what it looks like when it's done. Okay, so it's actually been more than 24 hours, but we will we'll relay that. Just, well, nothing bad happened, I just sort of got a bit busy. busier than I expected. So hopefully now, in the next few minutes, we'll get this finished, and I can upload this video on the same day that this is filmed if I'm really good at my timing. But let's see how things go. So first of all, Fire Dragon Bright, do the highlights. Not sure what way I'm going to do it. I'm going to have a little go at both of my methods. Maybe do a little bit of dry brushing after I'm done the main sort of coat. I'm not going to mix this with any water. I'm probably going to use it straight out of the pot just because Fire Dragon Bright is very watery, like I've said before. Not my favorite paint to work with at all. So let's see how this goes. Very gently, same as I talked about before. This is a very difficult color to do this with. I much prefer my Salamander's color. Like, you can barely even notice that. My Salamander's color, why did I say that? It's not my Salamander's color, I didn't design it. But I much prefer the Salamander's color scheme for noticeable highlighting. It blends very, very well. This is going the problem with Fire Dragon Bright is that the thing with highlights, you can be very fine with the brush, which most of you will know. And the thing with Fire Dragon Bright is when you're fine with the brush, nothing bloody well shows up. So you have to get even closer than you're comfortable with, like you would normally. But when you get too close, too much paint comes off. Even with an artificer layer brush, you end up leaving way too much paint sometimes, and it's so frustrating. And the other thing about Fire Dragon is that it dries up within seconds of being on the brush, so if you don't instantly get rid of all the paint you want to use, it hardens, which again makes it even harder to work with. You're constantly having to scratch this stuff off the end of your brush, so I hate to break it to everyone. I'm sure you're devastated, but I don't see myself doing many more Blood Angel series after this one, because honestly, man, screw Fire Dragon Bright. This is not at all my favorite paint. That's the highlighting done. You can see like where I've been overzealous and where the paint has come off too hard and where little mistakes and stuff were made. I'm also, you'll notice the difference that I've started picking out where the light sort of hits it, or would hit it if it was ceramite and not plastic and painted, whereas in the bottom half of the body, it's the problem with being modular the way I normally am. Bottom half of the body I just pick out all the edges, which kind of doesn't look that good, whereas up here I'm picking out where the light might hit it, which makes it look a little bit more realistic. So one of the things I'm learning at the minute is how highlighting can be done better. So what we're going to do now is do a little bit of dry brushing and just try and bring out some more so I'm a little bit happier now that I've dry brushed it like that. It's not perfect. I know dry brushing is dry brushing is dry brushing, but I'm annoyed with how dry, ironically, the Fire Dragon Bright makes that look. With other paint schemes and stuff, I find dry brushing can make things look a little bit more vibrant, but this kind of, even though the color is brighter, it looks a bit more dull to me, but I don't know. Let me know what you think. So next, I'm going to show you how I really quickly do weapons, and we'll go get that out of the way real fast. I mean, there's a lot more detail you can put into weapons, though I'm going to, but I don't really like focusing on weapons. For some reason, when it comes to miniature painting, my favorite part of the process is painting the Space Marines themselves, building and painting them. With weapons is that I'm just not interested in painting weapons. Every time I get to the weapons, I get bored. They seem less unique to me. Like the weapons are all the same part, where it's the look and positioning and stuff for the Marines that really brings them to life. So it can be hard for me to do this, but I'm going to show you my process. I'm going to stir my paint up. It's not very good. Yes, what I'm doing is taking a really old pot of gunmetal, really old, stirring it up, so I can get the nice sort of silvery parts of it, getting rid of most of it, just scuffing it away until it's starting to look like scratches instead of strokes, and really quickly just suddenly it becomes a boulder, which I love doing this every single time. And even though I kind of find weapons quite dull, is it just that black undercoat is, when it's even, can look pretty cool on its own, but obviously you can't leave it that way. But then, sorry, when you dry brush some metal paint onto that black, it just starts to come to life. I love that. Get in behind him there. And what I'll do is there, just to bring the armor to life a little bit more, very lightly. And now, suddenly, all this metal looks a bit more real. So, yeah, I had to real quick take the gun off so I could finish it. So instead of doing the next layer of metal, I'm going to real quick do some extra detail paints just to try and finish those parts off. It's hard to pick the right shade to do like little screens and stuff. Normally I do like quite a vibrant color, but since Blood Angels are a vibrant color to begin with, so I'm going to try some moot green. See if we can get that little screen on his wrist done. Gently turn him around so the gun doesn't fall off. One thing I was going to say, I keep talking about salamanders colors, how much I prefer to paint them, but obviously I can't paint salamanders forever. So I am planning to do my Redemptor Dreadnought as a Salamander's Dreadnought, but if there's anything you can think of that any color schemes that you prefer that I should try. My brother is an Imperial Fists guy. If there's anything like that I should have a go at, do let me know. Okay, not the best job I've done, but I think when that dries it won't look too bad. I've done my other eyes in this set blue. But I think this guy, because he's lighter, he's not one of my sort of darker, accidentally coloured Marines. Might have a go doing his eyes green too. I know I don't want to clash having too many different colours going on. Sometimes that can be good, but when you're painting something rather simple like that, well, my style anyway, You either have to have loads of color or just a limited selection so that you don't have too much going on, you know. So let's see if we can work away the extra. Again, not perfect, but it's good. And hopefully one thing over the course of series and stuff, you'll see me improve this kind of stuff. So I want to get better at those little sort of artificer details and stuff. I'm gonna quickly jump in and try and do the little pipe that we missed out. So just to try and, well, from a more solid color point of view anyway, some Stormhost silver and just so it's like a slightly different shine. And make the bracket red. Okay, I think that's pretty good. And instead of dry brushing the Stormhost on, I'm going to really gently just do some edges here. Okay, so now just going to do the straps and things, bring them to life with some Calvin Brown. Sorry. I don't have much in the way of any way to highlight this color, so I will try and do something, but we'll see what we end up doing. I mean, this is really straightforward. It's just creating a leather strap. After this, I'm going to do some of the last things that I like to do, which include the gold. And a little bit of a different approach to gold. I don't have, well, I have a couple of shades of gold. I'm going to grab a yellow, first of all, kind of earthy yellow, and in dark sun. Put that out of the way. Very, very lightly. Just only a couple of areas of gold that are going to go on this. I'm going to put one here. Yep. There, and then, well, what this guy has in place of an Aquila, you probably won't be able to see me do this very well. Turn the light on. And under here, just very lightly coat what you can. That's quite a tough one. Hopefully here you've seen along with me the benefits and the disadvantages of painting in a modular fashion. So yeah, now we're just going to touch up the leather with some Parketti white, which is an absolute nightmare to work with. Try to avoid white when I can. I'm just going to touch where the light might catch the leather. Following that, we just shade the gold, grab some Nuln oil, possibly everybody's favourite shade, drop it down, and just surround. I'm very liberal when I do this because I like the effect that you get when you overshade. If you shade around the area as well, I often find that really helps to bring out the gold when it dries, and it's a little bit less realistic, but you end up with a really nice effect. So this chest piece as well, just kind of drop the shade on because you're not really worried about the yellow. The yellow just helps the gold to stand on its own, so drop it in there, let it sit. Now that that's dry, I'm going to get my Auric Armor Gold. Always needs a good shake because it's a metallic paint. I'm going to go for it. And then what we do is really gently, let's go over that area we shaded. And overall, oops, sorry, that wasn't very good filmmaking. Creates quite a nice effect. A little bit. Let's try and finish the chest piece. So sorry, this is such a hard area for you guys to see. I'm just really lightly going over the shape as best I can, just so you know there's some gold going on in there. Not a massive amount taking place, but there's some gold. Yeah, you can see it, and that is quite nice. I will shade it all. I will shade that stuff again, but for now, that is generally all the work that I will do on a mini. This one is not my finest example, and though you'll see in the showcase next week that there's a lot more. Oh, sorry, there are a lot more models better than this guy, just because of pressures of painting in front of the camera and stuff. But I hope you guys enjoyed learning how I paint a mini. And before I go, I'm just going to grab this. Grab a nice red shade, Carver Crimson. And hopefully take some of the more unpleasant starkness away. Just getting a nice red shade into the armor. A bit of shine as well, hopefully. And there is my approximation of a beginner's finished Space Marine. I'm looking through them through the camera. Kind of sucks. It's an amalgamation of all my painting techniques and how I like to finish them off. So next week hopefully I'll have a lot more of these finished, and I'll be able to do a showcase of all the ones I've done, all 15 from the set, and then we'll move on to the newer techniques, which will hopefully look a little bit better than this one. But for now, I'm just back from the gym, so I'm not going to sign off properly. Thank you so much for watching. please subscribe if you would like to see more. Hopefully we will grow and learn and paint together for a long time to come. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.